And here we have a mock-up of the Switch 2, y'all. And this one is definitely bigger, obviously, than the Switch Lite, the regular standard Switch, and the OLED. And I'm not really sure if I like that, but I don't know. We'll see how things turn out with the Switch 2. But here we have Metal Gear Solid Delta PS5. And I know that in the States it's also coming out for the Xbox One. I'm not sure about Japan. Here we have a PS4 Slime edition, and that one's coming in at 30,000 with a 1,000 yen discount. Now, one thing that you're gonna notice, well, first of all, we're back in Ashikaga at the Wonder GOO, which is across the street from the book off from yesterday's video, and they have some pretty interesting things here. I do like to come here, but as you can see, the PlayStation Vitas, they're just shy of 20,000 yen. A few of them do have like small discounts. We got some PlayStation 4s. And you might think that stuff is overpriced, and but I think that's just, it's the standard price nowadays. Can you find a less expensive Vita? Yes, but it's not going to be, it's an uncommon thing. But here we have, PS5s. We got the Switch here. What's that coming in at? 29,980, 25,000 there for the OLED, and then the Slime 3DS, 34,000, 30,000 for the XL, or just shy of that. Now those are definitely a little bit above average. Well, they are above average, but who knows if things are going the way they're going, those things are just going to keep climbing. But they have a lot of Switch stuff, PS4, PS5. I definitely like coming here to, sometimes make the occasional pre-order or pick up the latest. These are just like the used Switch titles, but they have quite a bit. And sometimes, my go-to places to get like new games, is Wonder GOO, Joshin. Well, here we have Donpachi for the Sega Saturn at 10,000, and Double Dragon 2 for the Super CD-ROM, and then Shinryo for 19,800 yen. But yeah, Joshin, Wonder GOO, Furuichi, and GAO, those are the shops that I do like to go to for, all the latest and greatest in gaming. Here we have Giga Wing 2 for 8,980. A Core Graphics, 24,800, 11,800 for Ikaruga. Next to the PS1 Books edition of Dracula X. But here we have the combo, 32,000, the PS1 and LCD combo. We'll get back to that one a little bit later. We got a Mega Drive and a Mega CD 2 for 29,800 yen in the box for that Model 2 Mega CD. And those two units have been here for quite some time, and I do feature this store often on my Instagram account. Here we got some loose HuCard games. They have both R-types. And then Genma Tomaden, I do like that one. I always repeat that. But we have Castlevania Lords of Shadow. 9,990. We got Shadow Dancer. They had 6,980 for Bare Knuckle 2, 5,980 for old Ghostbusters. Super Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition for 2,980. They also had a Rocket Knight Adventures for 19,980. What else do we have here? Just a few. We got some Tiny Toons up there. Some, what is that? Yu Yu Hakusho. And I'm not really sure what the Penguins is, but that's 2,580. But I do like to come in here every now and then, and I have scored a few decent retro games from this area. But there's Giga Wing with the Obi card. But back to the combo, 32,000. And I want to say that's about average for, it being in the box. Now, I have been enjoying mine as of late. As a matter of fact, here it is. I fixed it up. The little grills on the speaker are kind of falling apart, but I ended up picking up a Joy-Con at a hard off, and I paid 330 yen for it, and it is compatible with Ridge Racer and Ridge Racer Type 4. But mind you, it's the Ridge Racer that's bundled with Type 4. But back to the showcase, we have Bubsy here, 3,280. Now, if that was complete in box, that would be upwards of like 100,000 yen. And then there's a Pac-Man game next to that. 1980 for the Super Scope 6. I sold mine, guys. I was never going to use it, and it just takes up so much space. But let's take a look at some Saturn titles. Here we have the Columns Arcade Collection for 1980, 580 for Toshinden S. I do play that every now and then. That's like I do like the old Toshinden series. We have 380 for Sega Rally. And as you can see, some of these games are very affordable. And if you're starting out with your collecting for Saturn, 380 for Virtua Fighter Kids, $380 for Remix, Virtua Fighter Remix that is. They had another copy there. $180 for Fighters Mega Mix. And what do we have here? Virtua Fighter 2, $144 yen. That's peanuts, y'all. Then we have Enemy Zero here for 280 yen. But this is a great place to pick up, you know, like those very common titles at a very affordable price. Here we have Sega Rally for 580. And every time I come to this place, you know, they're getting different titles. You know, stuff sells. They bring more stock in. 380 for Biohazard Zero on the GameCube. That's definitely the lowest that I've seen in a while. We have Sonic Adventure 2 for 1,580. Now, this is not a tax-free store. And I'm not sure if the prices I'm quoting include that tax, but 280 there for Blast Blue for the PSP. And I believe they do. I just can't remember. During my visit here, I actually didn't pick up anything, but we have a Pocket Fighter there, 600 yen. We have Tekken for 100 yen. Maybe these prices do not include sales tax. 180 for the gun belt, whatever, and then 1,424 for this Tetris Super Light game. I do like the little art direction. I have my little book off bag with Mega Man and Forte in there. I was playing that last night, and my goodness, it's definitely, well, 580 there for Toshinden 2 Plus, but the Super Famicom version is definitely a step up from the Game Boy Advance version, which was what I was playing previously. And then here we have a few boxed games mixed in with PS2. We got some, what is that? Winning 11 for N64. We have Puyo Puyo, 580 yen. And a Super Game Boy for 2,000 yen. Those can still be had for relatively cheap. 580 here for Super Mario Land. And we're going to take a look at a few loose cards because they had quite a bit. As a matter of fact, 380 there for Donkey Kong. That's not bad. Not bad at all. 980 for whatever that is. That could be a good one. I don't know. The Game Boy has such a rich library, and I think a lot of it is... I think it's lost to time, maybe. 980 there for the PS1s and 1980 for the Super Famicom. Here we have some GameCube controllers and the Virtual Cop Stunner. 2980. I got rid of most of my light guns as well, but we have Donkey Kong 2 for 300 yen, 1280 for X2, 300 for old Star Fox there, and then Saturday Night Slam Masters. What else do we have? We have F1 Grand Prix. That one was coming in at 300 yen. We got some Sailor Moon action there for 780. And I did look, you know, here's ActRaiser for 580. That's not a bad deal at all, but 780 for Rockman X, and I kind of dug through the cards and put these front facing. 980 for Rockman 7, Dragon Ball Z 2 for 180, and then they also had Goof Troop for 2,480, and that's a little bit of a rare one, at least for the Capcom Disney releases. Here we got some PlayStation Vita titles, but you know, I definitely recommend if you see a Wonder GOO, hit them up. And it is going to vary. Their retro offerings will vary by stores. You know, a few of the stores have almost zero in stock. But, you know, if you're at, well, here's Earth Defense Force 3 for the old Vita. That one's coming in at 900 yen. And I'm pretty sure that, you know, by the looks of it, these prices do not include that sales tax. Let's see here. 500 yen there for Call of Duty. And then we have this Gundam G Generation Genesis. Not really familiar with the Gundam releases for any platform, really. Except for Gundam Wing for the old Super Famicom, which was at the book off from yesterday's episode. And a lot of visual novels here on the Vita, but, you know, the Vita, I still have a lot of respect for it. It had a lot of great games. Here we have Epic Mickey 2 for the Wii U, 1,800 yen. A little bit of a pricey one, that one. 600 yen for Toad's Treasure Tracker. That's a fun game, by the way, y'all. You got to play that. Splatoon for 700. Xenoblade X, 2,500. And then, I don't know what the heck this is, but 2,500 yen. Looks like another like drawing type of game. Which there was one for the 3DS, which we saw at the Surugaya. Here we have the Kirby 20th Anniversary Collection. 2,800 yen, and it has like a B ranking. But look at that. That's usually that one is hovering more towards like the 3,000 and some change marker. And what else do we have? Super Mario Galaxy for 400 yen. That's not a bad deal. Mario Party 9, 1,800 yen. But yeah, like what else do we have here? Fallout 3, 300 yen. I do want to pick up a copy of Fallout 3, and that's going to be a priority for once I'm in the US. I want to pick up a Xbox 360 version so I can play it on the whole Series X. And Mario Party for the 3DS. Mario Kart 7, 1,490. You can definitely find that one for less. Detective Pikachu, 2,980. And then we got this Pokemon keyboard thingy for 3,000. And what else do we have here? Dragon Quest 11. But yeah, the good old Wonder GOO. The one up in Koga is also very good with regard to retro, a retro selection. 1,790 there for Super Mario Bros. 2, or New Super Mario Bros. Was that? Yeah, I think so. What else do we have here? Oh, this game again, Battle for Money. And then Xenoblade 990. And that one's only compatible with the new 3DS. And then we have Strange Journey. Now, I have the original DS North American release to that, and I don't see a need to upgrade that. We have Star Fox 64 3D. This is another title that I want to prioritize when I'm in the States. I want to get a North American copy. And then once I have that, maybe it's time to let go of the N64. Because that's really the only game that it hurts to let go, you know. V-Rally 3. And what else? You know, the PS2 selection was a little bit weak, if I'm being honest. Here we have Dirge of Cerberus, Final Fantasy 7. I'm not sure what kind of... Well, 280 for Tekken 4 and then 5 for 380. 5 is definitely worth it because you get 1, 2, and 3 and then Starblade Alpha. And then here we have some N64 cards. We have F-Zero X for 780. And then we have Super Mario 64 with the Rumble 580. And Episode 1 Racer 380. That's definitely a good deal for that one. And then, you know, well, and then back to the Virtua Cop Sega Saturn. Here we have some Famicom titles. The Famicom selection also had some pretty good ones. You know, here we have the Ninja Gaiden games. Rockman 3 for 580. And then Image Fight for 780. Super Mario USA 780. Some Kirby action here for 980. So all decent prices. You know, you might be able to find this stuff a little bit less, but if you're here, you know, you might as well take advantage. And then we have, what is this? Sky Destroyer. I used to have that. And then back to the old Game Boy games. But yeah, you know, this retro section was relatively small. But like I said, I do like to come here every now and then, because I have had a few decent pickups throughout the years from this location. And this is it. As a matter of fact, this is where I saw the cheapest PlayStation Vita of all time. It was 3,000 yen, and they had another one for 5,000 yen. And I haven't seen anything like that since. But guys, super short episode. Definitely expect more. You know, more is definitely going to be on the way. Perhaps I'm going to be out in Chiba soon. But until then, I'll see you soon. Ciao.